Parents of students who attend Norfolk Public Schools had a chance to take a glimpse into the future. At a community dialogue meeting, the school district laid out some potential changes for the division. Robert Boyd has the story from Granby High School.
Well, parents who attended tonight's meeting got a chance to hear a little of everything, from possible redistricting to potentially new start times to maybe closing down some schools and opening up new ones.
There's a lot of change that can happen, and so we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to come and ask us.
Consultant Tracy Richter of Cooperative Strategies has been working with Norfolk Public Schools for the past 6 years. Tonight, they shared some of that work with parents. One of the main things on the list is consolidation.
Norfolk has been in decline in enrollment for the past several years. A lot of that is actually due to lower birth rates that we saw from the recession from 2008 to 2013.
Richter says consolidation shouldn't be looked at as a negative.
Part of consolidation is, can we build new schools in the right spaces where kids are and where they're going to be?
But some parents are concerned families could lose their neighborhood schools they've grown to love. The school board says that's not going to happen.
It is very important for families to be able to purchase a home in an area and know that they are purchasing a home with a very credible and resourceful school.
Another big issue is school start times, which could be pushed way back for high school students.
But right now, we have high school students that get on the bus at 5:45 in the morning. This would mean no student would have to get on a bus before 7 a.m. anymore.
Dana Watson's daughter, Nakaya, is one of those high school students that, in her opinion, goes to school way too early.
It is still dark outside, so there are some safety concerns.
Nakaya is also worried about simple building maintenance. According to Richter, it would cost the district $491 million to fix everything needed in all 44 buildings.
Well, where my desk is like tiles and roofing missing, and it's like leaking, and it's a real distraction from my learning, like water falling on my paper and stuff.
Some possible recommendations are expected to be delivered to the school board by the end of the year, where they could make some final decisions. In Norfolk, Robert Boyd, 13 News Now.
Norfolk Public Schools will hold another community meeting at 5:30 tomorrow at Richard Bowling Elementary. Then later in the month, there will be one more meeting on October 29th at Lake Taylor Middle School.